Welcome back and climb aboard to DohMance Dawn. I'm Luke,
And I'm Janine.
and this is our podcast where we mash up One Piece and Simpsons characters because I know too much about both.
And I don't have any sense to say no.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a basis for a good podcast, I think.
Well, I mean, if it isn't, then a lot of other people are in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got a good set of banter back and forth. We're able to finish each other's sentences, and we don't feel the need to do that bit where it's like we can finish each other's and then you would say sentences.
Yeah, I was thinking about interrupting you, but honestly, nah.
We don't always go for the cheap jokes here.
Besides, Frozen took that one, and everybody who knows it would be like, no, that was Arrested Development first.
Mm-hmm. Arrested Development still generally holds up pretty well. It would not be a good mashup for One Piece, though.
Although now I kind of want to. Steve Holt.
Steve Holt! Yeah, so the basic idea is that we are going to quickly go over the One Piece episodes that we are covering for this week. We are then going to be talking about the new characters who premiered, and we're going to see about assigning some Simpsons characters into the roles of these One Piece characters. This week, we are back for episode 3. We are going to be covering episodes 9 through 13 of One Piece. Honorable Liar, Captain Ussop.
The world's strongest weirdo, Jango the hypnotist.
Revealing the conspiracy, the pirate caretaker Captain Kuro.
Battle! The Blackcat crew. Battle on the slope.
The terrifying duo, Nyaban Brothers vs. Zoro. And this I did have a DohMance in the last episode. I forgot that this arc, the Serb Village arc, is split into 2 parts. So we don't get a full story, but I feel like you kind of understand where things are going in these ones.
Yeah, I mean, when you see that one of the characters appears inside of the um opening credits, you kind of get spoiled, all of the, oh, what's gonna happen to them kind of.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at least the 4 kids rap didn't introduce characters until they joined the crew.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They just had longer verses. But yeah, so the crew ends up in Syrup Village. That is where we kind of have a boy who cried wolf situation. Ussop constantly lies about pirates, and he also tells lies for a good reason to Kaya, who's a rich girl. But he's gone too far, but it don't matter anyway. Klahadore, her butler, is secretly the infamous pirate Captain Kuro, who is out to take her money and destroy the town, which his whole plan kind of has some big old plot holes in it. And he is assisted by Jango, a hypnotist who took over the pirate crew of the Blackcat pirates. And so Usopp stumbles onto this whole conspiracy along with Luffy. And They're like, okay, well, we got to stop the pirates. They set up a plan to try and keep them from climbing up a hill, and they end up accidentally preparing the wrong hill. And so the battle starts off in an unexpected way, and Zoro has to fight the Nyaben brothers, or the Miaoban brothers in the English version. And because Luffy, Zoro, Nami, and Usopp have been holding the pirates back, Captain Kuro shows up to be like, hey, why aren't you murdering all these people the way that I wanted?
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Yeah. Like, Kuro's plan is that he has Jango, who is a hypnotist, who is going to hypnotize Kaya into signing everything over, and then she's going to get murdered. And it's like, well, what sort of governing body is going to like adjudicate this situation if everybody else in the village is dead?
Yeah, not only that, but like there's the comes into question like why didn't they kill you?
Mm-hmm.
And also, um, who is going to adjudicate everything if there's only this one village inside of this whole town and they die?
Yeah, and it's like, if Kaya is the last person who can inherit the money and she's dead and you're the only person who can manage the estate, who else would the money go to? Like, than you? There's obvious like plot holes that are in here, and it's like it doesn't really matter. We have our stakes, and we have a feeling that Captain Kuro is not going to succeed on this plan. But yeah, so we have 13, a lucky number of characters to add on to the list this week. And as a fun side note, the episodes initially ran from January 12th to February 9th of the year 2000. So happy new millennium, Janine.
Oh, hey, nice. We're
Mm-hmm.
in the year 2000.
Yeah. New Simpsons episodes that came out during this period include Little Big Mom, the episode where Marge ends up in a hospital, so Lisa's put in charge, where famously Stupid Sexy Flanders comes from. Faith Off, where Bart becomes a faith healer. The Mansion Family, where the Simpsons have to watch the Burns Mansion and Homer and Bart go into international waters for monkey fights. Saddlesore Galactica, where Bart becomes a horse racer. And Alone Again, Natura Diddley, where Maud Flanders dies.
Oh, right. Because they
Mhm.
had like complications with the voice actress that could have been like, I don't know, smoothed over if you just paid somebody better.
No, I always thought it was literally they wanted to have stakes for it.
I don't. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere it had something to do with like complications with the voice actress.
Let's see, production. Oh, yep, nope, you were right. She asked for a cost of living raise from 2,000 an episode to 6,000, and she was only offered $150 by Fox to cover the travel costs between Denver and Los Angeles. And
Kind of a big leap, so
yeah, they had hired a voice actress to fill in with her for a few of the episodes, and then they decided to kill her to change Ned Flanders' character. Woo!
that's Hollywood, baby.
More like Holly Weird. But yeah, characters who are introduced in these that we now have access to include Stupid Sexy Flanders, who I would consider to be a distinct variation from just normal Flanders, Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo Carmichael, Cornelius Chapman, Springfield's formerly oldest man, Britney Spears and Mike Tyson, Bachman Turner Overdrive, Linda Carter, George Foreman, Rachel Jordan, and Fandemonium, along with many more.
I do like noted Furious George.
Mhm.
I have since the airing of this episode in the year 2000, um, while I was small and playing through Pokemon at the time, any primate Pokemon that I did catch, especially the Mankey and Primate line, have been nicknamed Furious George after that episode had aired.
Fair enough. I mean, it's a good name. And Furious George is not to be confused with Furious D, the racehorse.
Also, Furious George doesn't like all the way fit, but Furious G kind of does, and you just kind of know.
Well, Furious D is a also reference to Tenacious D.
Interesting.
Uh huh. Also, that episode uses the song "The Distance" by Cake. Just putting that in there. But yeah, so we have 13 characters. The biggest one, and I feel like what might be the easiest one that we both agree on is going to be Ussop. Because we met his dad, Yassop, and even Luffy is like, hey, your dad told me all about you, which he was drunk at the time, so I wonder what stories were told. Uh,
And like Usopp was a baby also, so it's like, how interesting is a baby? That's why people
Very
have
valid.
baby pictures, really. Because like you
Mhm.
can't say like what cute thing that the baby did because it doesn't have the same impact because that's not your baby. But if you have a picture of it and God willing they look cute, people can react to it.
But I mean, if Usopp comes up with lies about what he did as a famous child pirate, I figure his dad probably has the same ability. Baby Usopp's a pretty big wheel down at the pirate factory.
Interesting. I won't argue that.
So for Yassop, we put Kirk Van Houten. I feel like for this one, we got to go Millhouse.
Yeah, everything's coming up, Millhouse.
All right, so Millhouse is what you had for Usopp.
Yes, yes, I did. I didn't
All
even
right.
bother to have anything else.
Yeah, no, neither did I. Uh, there's a few others where it's just like I got one suggestion for this, and that's all. So we then have Jango, the hypnotist who moonwalks everywhere, frequently falls for his own hypnotism, and also the item that he uses for hypnotism is a razor sharp chakram. Who do you have for Django, or do you want me to give mine first?
I will go first on this one because I feel very strongly that Django should be none other than Dr. Nick.
Ooh!
He's
I.
he's kind of incompetent. He's like not really like kind of like a neutral evil type character, like definitely not working for good, but like also kind of charming and in his own pathetic way.
God, yeah, no, that is beautiful. So I had two suggestions for him. The first was Disco Stew,
Ah, that's a,
a-
that's a lovely one.
and the second was Brother Faith, who was the faith healer played by War Machine himself from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
There was two of them though, like there was Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard.
Yeah, but Don Cheadle is the only one who actually got to become War Machine.
Okay, that's fair.
God, yeah, no, you know, I liked Disco Stew a lot more, but no, I'm good to use Dr. Nick here.
Excellent. That was the one that I was going to fight you with fists if I had to.
All right. So next we have Kaya, the rich girl who's dying of sadness.
Right. I didn't have anything on this one because I had a feeling that she does come back. That and you know how I kind of feel about that and my indecision. So Lay it on me. What do you
Well,
have?
well, well. Do you think that Django's going to come back?
Honestly, if he does come back, I'll probably feel just as happy as any other time that Dr. Nick ever comes back.
Hi, everybody. Hi,
Hi,
Django the
Doug.
hypnotist.
Yes, I will
Uh,
immediately do that. Anytime that I see him, like, come back.
so the one that I picked for Kaya also ties into Kaya's father. That is Samantha Stanky from the episode Bart's where Milhouse gets a girlfriend. They are separated by her father. She gets sent to French Canadian boarding school at the end.
Interesting. I should have looked into characters that are connected to Millhouse in some way, and I probably would have been able to find something like that. But now that you say that, it is a great connection, and it does get me to know a little bit more about the father who I have no idea about. So I do like that. Yes.
All right. So Samantha Stanky is in our role as Kaya, who mostly after this arc is regulated to just popping in and checking on characters for like a panel or two. We then have Captain Kuro, and I have three suggestions for this one. What about you?
I have two, tentatively two. But the first one kind of comes with the question: have we used blue-haired lawyer yet?
We have not.
Okay, that was
Blue
definitely
haired
my
lawyer,
first.
aka Burns' lawyer.
Yes.
Hmm.
And my second suggestion on that would be another Burns supervillain, in that it would be Waylon Smithers.
Ooh, an interesting choice. An interesting choice. So I have three suggestions. One that I think is the one to go for. One that is a wild out there suggestion, and then one that is a bad suggestion. Which one would you like to hear first?
Let's go with bad first, then go for the kind of like middle, more logical one, and then wrap it all up with whatever weird stuff you have for the end.
Fair enough. The bad idea or the easy idea is just burning Seymour Skinner here way too
Ah,
early.
yeah.
The good suggestion that I have is Mr. Black from the episode Camp Krusty, because he similarly trades on people not believing children, having a sort of dark background, utilizing bullies, and Kuro does not really return from here.
Ah, okay.
The wild suggestion is Pearl Butler, who is a anthropomorphic Pearl that I believe Homer fantasizes.
That is pretty wild. I'll give you that.
Hmm. Would you like me to pull up a picture of Mr. Black?
I think I remember Mr. Black. I do remember um that particular episode of The Simpsons in which yeah, the children are pretty much like uh abused and or neglected, sometimes simultaneously, inside of like a hell camp that is just, I guess, licensed by Krusty.
Hmm. And it also includes him setting or showing them a fake Krusty and a fake video from Krusty at the beginning to earn their confidence, which I feel is thematically appropriate for Captain Kuro.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, I guess. I do kind of. Hmm. I mean, I do admit that using blue haired lawyer is kind of mostly because of like how much Kuro seems to be obsessed with using the law inside of his scheme,
Hmm.
despite the fact that it only kind of works with cartoon logic.
Yeah, yeah. Like the plan does not make sense.
It really doesn't. But in defense of the Simpsons, they get pretty kangaroo court inside of their
Hmm.
legal
Uh,
system as well.
the other thing is, if we go with Mr. Black, I have additional uses for the Camp Krusty characters theme.
Interesting. I
Hmm.
do like I do like when you do returning themes. Okay, let's do it then. Let's
Mr. Black.
Mr. Black.
All right, Mr. Black is our Captain Kuro. Who did he have for the mansion guards who really don't do much except stay in front of the gates? Also, I love that Usopp has somehow not only cut a perfect cube out that he can pull to climb through the topiary, but also that cube of topiary never actually like dies or wilts or browns or anything.
Yeah, it's Minecraft as shit, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't have anything for them because honestly, I didn't like. I was going to get back to them after I finished all of the episodes, and when I did, I just like, oh, I had forgotten who they were. Like right now, gun to my head, I could not tell you what the color of either of their hair were.
I think that is completely fair. My pick was the security guards from Homer Palooza, who also don't
Oh,
really have
right.
lines.
When Homer gets the help that he needs.
No, that's when he becomes the human cannonball target in the freak show and
Oh,
Lollapalooza's stand-in.
Homer interrupts a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
Cypress Hill is in that one.
When do we get to use Cypress Hill?
I mean, I almost used them before.
I'll have them in mind because they do seem like they would be able to fit inside of some pirates that we'll come across later.
Oh yeah, no, there's like literally a band of musical pirates in the future.
Interesting.
Yeah, One Piece gets wild. One Piece gets wild. So then we have the three kid characters who are sort of Usopp's hangers on. They have different names in the Japanese sub. In the US one, they are named Carrot, Pepper, and Onion. That's what their Japanese names translate as, and that's because their heads look like a carrot, a pepper, and an onion.
Very unfortunate haircuts.
Mm-hmm.
For these three, I did have kind of a similar theme in that they were also nerds.
Mm-hmm.
I used the chess nerd, the prune juice nerd, and database, which I do believe were featured inside of the episode when Bart becomes a nerd.
Ooh. I'm going to Google.
It
Yes, thank you,
is the
Simpson.
last temptation of Homer. When it was a B plot when Homer and Mindy go to a capital city.
Hmm. And Bart has to get the hair gel, the shoe inserts, the glasses, and the voice spray. I would like to applaud you, Janine, for finding a trio of nerds who uh, work really well as background characters. I feel like I almost wasted the characters that I was going to use. I
Ah,
had Adrian Ballou, Richard, and Wendell, who are just background kids.
interesting. Keep a pin in one of those names.
Wendell,
Yep. I mean,
fair enough.
if you want to go ahead and jump to
We
that,
we do them in an order. We do them in an order.
okay, then we can go over the. Kaya's father next, which
Well,
you could be able
well.
to tell me.
So, carrot would be chest nerd, pepper would be prune juice nerd, and database would be onion.
That's correct.
All right, just wanted to make sure that I had that down. So Kaya's father. Did you have someone for Kaya's father?
I did not. I kept that blank because like there was only one still image of him, and I was like, "Oh, I know from last time that that motherfucker's gonna come back."
No, he did.
Oh, he did.
He did.
Ah, I overestimated this dead motherfucker.
It happens to the best of us. So then I suppose we just go with Mr. Stanky for that.
Yeah, I mean it fits with the theme.
It fits with who his daughter is in
Yeah,
this mashup, which is
which we've
close enough.
which we've kind of like worked on with you know the Van Houtens. So
Hmm. Yeah, patterns and themes. You don't necessarily need to use family relationships, but if it's for background characters or certain characters, I think it works better. I will say we get introduced to Usopp's mom in the next episode, and I don't necessarily know if I want to burn Luann Van Houten on her, because I mean
interesting.
Luann has been divorced and a single woman longer than she was Millhouse's mom in terms of continuity.
I mean, with how long the series has run,
Yeah, yeah.
that's just numbers. But she's
Hmm.
also very much characterized a lot more as a single mom.
Exactly. So then we have Nugira Yainu, who is the fake Captain Kuro, who got left behind on the ship and like shows up for a scene to be like, "Yes, I left an impersonator on the ship."
I had one name, and that's because that's the one person I could be able to think about that has like a similar look and also
Mhm.
is only around for one episode. Frank Grimes.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely too soon to use old Grimy.
Really, you have an idea for somebody who dies in one episode? Or
Yes,
did you want to burn Frank Grimes on like somebody who actually comes back for a second episode?
it's his son who comes back for a second episode. But no, I have three different suggestions of kind of like characters who fit for each of these sets that I had. So for Seymour Skinner, I was going to do the real Seymour Skinner.
Ah,
For Pearl Butler, fitting in with the characters who are introduced in new episodes, I had Red Barclay, the trucker who Homer challenges to a steak eating contest and loses to, and then he dies immediately after. So Homer and Bart have to take the truck on its final trip, and that's when they learn that all truckers just have computers that drive them everywhere they need to go.
wow, that hasn't aged very well now, hasn't?
Nope. And then the one fitting in with the Camp Krusty theme was the mail delivery man on horseback from Camp Krusty, who Lisa just pays to deliver letters. He has a distinct beard.
Okay. Well, um, I'm not wild about that one.
Mhm.
What death do you feel is most relevant to the same kind of level of plot, I guess?
I'm going to say Red Barclay. I feel better about burning him as opposed to Grimes because, like, people care about Frank Grimes. Nobody cares about Red Barclay. Even
Okay.
though he is a trucker and he's eaten steaks from coast to coast with taters and toast.
I do love that you memorized that little bit of a rhyme. Yes, let's do Red Barclay then. We'll save Grimy for another poor unfortunate soul who has a little bit more impact.
Exactly. We then have Mary, the butler, who Uh, I my mind just goes to one of the worst things that I saw early on in One Piece fandom that we will not get to here.
Okay.
Yeah. So who did you have for Mary?
Now that one I use Wendell.
Interesting.
The hair was very reminiscent, but also like I guess the cowardice. The only thing that like is like kind of missing is that um Mary didn't throw up, but I don't think that that occurs in One Piece.
No, people get sick. Mary does pull a fucking gun on Usopp.
That is true.
My suggestion was Carl, Homer's assistant, from the episode where Homer fakes insurance paperwork so he can get the hair regrowth serum. And it's Simpson and Delilah is the episode, and he is voiced by Harvey Firestein. Also, white hair or blonde hair, blonde and then later white, according to the Simpsons wiki.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I mean, I don't have anything against using that character, mainly because I can't quite remember that character right now. But might make sense using an older character that considerably might have I would feel more comfortable associating with a firearm. Maybe. Although then again I did like was ready to kill Wendell, so I don't know
Oh,
where I am.
oh, so you're assuming that Mary is dead?
How is Mary not dead? That motherfucker just got stabbed and then left to bleed out overnight. Like, are you telling me that somehow he was able to like keep enough blood in and is just fine now? Like, what the fuck are the what the fuck is Kuro then to be like so incompetent to like after 3 years like of no killing, the first person he gets to kill, he just botches it.
Mary's a tough motherfucker.
I fucking guess. I mean, like, he literally has hair that makes him look like a lamb. That which you would think would be the sacrificial lamb. Why does that guy get to live? Like, wow, we were killing so many people in the last arc. Why is nobody dead now?
Because they're stuck going up the hill.
They're just running up that hill, running up that road, running up that building with no problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, except for when Nami forces Zoro down the hill.
That was the wrong hill. Like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, what a fucking scene. I'm pretty sure that was in the manga, like kind of just like to take up space, or really more realistically, just to make sure that they didn't have all of the characters up at the same time. Like,
Oh yeah, no, that's like half of what plotting out manga battles is, especially until they get to the point where it's like, okay, we're going to need to give like everybody their own mini boss to fight.
and I guess for Zoro it was running up that hill.
Mm-hmm. And
By the
Luffy
way,
is.
like if you forgot that that song slaps, go ahead and listen to like Kate Bush again. Like it holds up, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I do not doubt in the magic of Kate Bush. Um, but yeah, I'm
But
still
I'm still
pulling.
doubting inside of the magic of fucking Mary. Okay.
uh, yeah, no, you definitely are. No, Mary survives.
Mary survives. Kaya's father does not come back, despite the fact that we see some like fucking serious art from him like one time.
Hmm.
Like I had vibes like, oh, this guy's gonna come back. Like, how did I whiff it and just like ah One Piece.
It's the name of the treasure in the Grand Line.
Okay, we'll go with Carl parentheses Homer's assistant from the episode where he gets hair.
I mean, there's only one Carl, and it's specifically Carl with a K, and not Carl from Lenny and Carl.
So there's
So,
more than one Carl.
hmm well, there's Carl Carlson from Lenny and Carl.
I forgot that was his last name.
Hmm.
Let's move on to our next couple of pieces of work.
Yeah, Sham and Butchie, or Siam and Butchie. And once again, I had three sets for them. The bad one, going with the Seymour Skinner theme, was State Comptroller Atkins and Mr. Glasscock. The wild one was Meat Hook and Ramrod, who are from Take My Wife Sleaze, an episode that got introduced during the last batch of ones that we covered, who are bikers voiced by John Goodman and uh, I'm going to say Henry Fonda, but that's not the right name. The guy who plays the Fonz.
Henry Winkler.
Yes, Henry Winkler. And then the suggestions for the Camp Krusty theme were the Camp Krusty nurse and the Fat Camp counselor.
That could be something there because I tell you, I blanked out on these two and I only had one weird idea that came to me one night in a fever dream.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was just when I was taking a nap at work this morning. Um, Worker and Parasite.
From the Russian uh, Itchy and Scratchy
They
knockoff.
say it's Eastern Europe's biggest cartoon show, but they don't specifically say Russian. But with names like Worker and Parasite, you kind of get the feeling this was from the USSR,
Mm-hmm.
while also having no actual propaganda because they speak in gibberish, not in any particular language, and they don't really do much.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it. I spent a long time trying to figure these out because, like, way back when I had started thinking about, like, well, who are they going to be? Because I think I watched these episodes twice to get ready for this one. It was like, well, what if I do? What if we use Patty and Selma? It's like, no, that's a waste of them for so many reasons. But like, they're sub enemies. Like, I don't know if they're actually like playable in any video games or anything like that. So like, Camp Krusty Nurse, Bad Camp Counselor, those are good enough.
All right, well, we'll complete the Mr. Black. Um, I don't know what I would call it.
Theming, except for Red Barclay. But I feel like Red Barclay is probably a better use.
Yeah, we gotta kill somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't
Well,
kill somebody when it comes to children's camp episode. I mean, like you could, but like, ooh, they're gonna really get on you about that.
that's what they would have had to have done if they actually made it a movie like they initially planned for it.
Ooh,
Like, yeah, it was initially planned for a full-on theatrical release, and then I think they just didn't have enough time, so they kind of boiled it down to one episode. Weirdly, One Piece has a arc, a filler arc that was intended to be a movie, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, no, you can tell this one was intended to be a movie because it's actually good." Uh, One Piece has a lot of filler arcs, and God, I didn't even factor some of the episodes that are just full on recaps into my estimation math. Uh, but yeah, so we got another batch of characters done, Janine,
We did.
and the next episode that we do is going to be really fucking wild because we're going to have to dig deep. But to recap who we have Ussop as Millhouse, Jango as Dr. Nick, or Dr. Nick as Jango, Samantha Stanky as Kaya, Mr. Black as Kuro, the security guards from Homer Palooza as the mansion guards, Chestnut as Carrot, Prune Juice Nerd as Pepper, Database as Onion, Mr. Stanky as Kaya's father, Red Barclay as Nugire Yainu, Carl as Mary, Camp Trusty Nurse as Bushi, and Fat Camp Counselor as Sham. We done did it.
Why does he even look like a sheep then? If it's not to fill in the idea of the sacrificial lamb, they show a shot of like a sheep for a second
Mm-hmm.
that I thought like this is symbolic to something to kind of like show more of a relation between this character and the sheep. Is it because that the sheep got led astray for a second and like shot a man or something, or got stabbed by another man or something? Like it's such like the character doesn't need to live. Like if anything, like it would be much more impactful if the character did die. Like how do you get to live? Like right now he's sitting inside of the mansion bleeding out still, because I have a feeling like nobody in the town is going to know exactly what happened, and they'll continue like going on the idea that Usopp was like a liar the entire
Uh,
time.
so Mary's most important thing has yet to come up.
Most important. Wow.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about the fuck. I'm forgetting the term of for like a Japanese independent slash fan comic. Uh,
Dojinshi.
yes, and I'm not talking about the doujinshi where it is Mary fucking Kaya that was put up with commentary just kind of criticizing how bad and unhappy everybody looked in the comic. It's been over a decade since I've seen that thing that I probably didn't need to see, but it sticks with me.
Wow. Anime fans is weird, y'all.
Anime fans is weird. But yeah, no. Next episode, we are going to be covering 14 through 18, which is going to wrap up this arc, introduce a very important character, introduce a special background character, and yeah, we're going to have some good times. So, Janine, before we wrap this up, you got any more questions?
Um, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know. Like at this point, I know that we were thinking about like waiting and seeing about like keeping this thing up, like keeping this thing going, but
Mm-hmm.
um like I feel like this is now a punishment that we have to do onto the world if we have to go through it.
I feel like we will probably be good until we get to Skypiea, which is the one where the party has to fight Eminem, the rapper who is trying to murder all of them because he is God.
Wow, literally rap god.
Hmm.
Okay, well, when that comes up and our brain hurts too much, then we can stop. Right now, I'm only just getting mildly infuriated by Mary being alive. I mean, I guess it'll make, I guess it'll make sense later, or like I'll feel better about it, or maybe I don't know. I'm not fucking him. I'll tell you that much.
Fair enough. Well, if people want to volunteer to fuck Mary and they want to tell you about it, they can go to our Twitter account for the show at DohMance Dawn. And if they want to talk about anything else with you, Janine, where can they find you on Twitter?
Well, on Twitter, you could be able to find me at Janine Juliet. Um, Also, Janine is spelled Janine. I'm pretty sure like that is on like the episode stuff, but I realized lately that I've got to spell it out for some people because there are different variations to spell Janine. And let me tell you one thing: nobody spells Janine Garofalo's name right.
Because that
It's the
one's
other
more
Janine.
that's more like Janan.
It's kind of it's like a Jean-nine,
Janine.
something similar. Anyway, that's where you could be able to follow me and tell me things about what, argue my decisions or like how much I'm letting Luke get away with some stuff. Or tell me how good I was by choosing Dr. Nick as Jango.
You were excellent. Thank you for pulling Dr. Nick. Like, full on kudos, a kudos bar, a Captain Kuros, all that to you, because no, Dr. Nick was a great pull.
Yes, thank you. I like praise. Um
You deserve it here.
yeah. Also, like, if you want to listen to other stuff I've done, like I've done other podcasts with you. That should be easy to find if they go to like what, lukehair.com.
Uh, yes, LukeHair.com is where you can currently find the show, though I'm thinking probably by the next episode we will have DohManceDawn.com and a separate website because I think we're getting picked up. We're moving out of pilot mode.
Ooh, excellent. We've done it.
Hmm. You can find news about that not only on the DohMance Dawn podcast, or not only on the DohMance Dawn Twitter, but you can also follow me on Twitter at Koltreg. That's KOLTREG. Yeah. I feel like I hit a weird energy point talking about based on where the Mary conversation went, and it's life for you. Sometimes Mary survives to go and fuck on and do genshis.
And sometimes you find out about the kind of pornography your friend has seen.
Hmm. Have a great night, everybody.